dive into the Baltimore Ravens. You mentioned Lamar Jackson, just a couple of seconds ago. When we talk about the most talented quarterbacks of all time, obviously you mentioned Aaron Rodgers, Dan Marino, quarterbacks like that, But I think that we actually need to start mentioning Lamar Jackson in that category, because I think that if I'm a defensive coordinator, that guy is going to give me nightmares. I mean, his ability to run the football effectively, I think Lamar Jackson is honestly the most explosive and greatest runner of the football at the quarterback position we've ever seen. And not to mention, a couple of years ago when he won the league MVP, he led the NFL in touchdown passes. So we have this guy that's making incredible throws. That's so hard to stop. He's only 24 years old. And I think that Lamar Jackson gets a lot of criticism, a lot of unnecessary hate. Do you believe Lamar Jackson is a little bit overhated in today's game? And where do you think Lamar Jackson ranks among quarterbacks today? I think Lamar Jackson, I wouldn't quite put him in the Mahomes, Rodgers, Brady tier, but I think that he's right behind those guys. And if he wins the Super Bowl, he's going to be right there in the conversation for best in the world. You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't even say a little bit overhated. I'll say he's probably one of the most overhated players of all time. And you got to remember, and I think me and you talked about this in the comment section on the video, everybody has their opinions about players coming out. And when players come out, people stick to those opinions. They're hesitant to change. You feel me? So with Lamar Jackson, you remember the stigma, don't like to bring race into it, but he had the low score on the Wonderlic test, African-American quarterback. So everybody just assumes that he's run first, pass later. Not true. Rick Pitino used to be the head coach for the Atlanta Falcons, ran the NFL system. Nobody knows that. You get what I'm saying? Because nobody actually digs into it. They just had this narrative. You just see a great athlete. You want to put him at wide receiver. And you see, I told everybody when Lamar Jackson first got drafted that he was going to be the best quarterback from that draft class. Not just because the situation he went into, because I believe it. You get what I'm saying? I was a little bit hesitant on Josh Allen, but Josh Allen had a little bit more to work on than Lamar. And I was telling people, there are more Lamar Jacksons out there. You see, Michael Vick was supposed to be this once-in-a-lifetime player until we saw Cam Newton. He's 6'5", 250 QB, running 4.6. And I tell people this, there's more. When Lamar Jackson won MVP, I said, listen, there are going to be more coaches trying to find the next Lamar Jackson. Then you got Rams fans trying to say there'll never be another Lamar. Y'all try to say there'll never be another Randall Cunningham. And came Mike Vick. You see, the NFL is a copycat league. When you have somebody that's successful in this world, whether that be a rapper, business, you always have other people trying to replicate that formula of success and trying to add a spin to it. And I told people it's something called the theory of evolution. It's like a theory that we somehow came from apes and things like that. Now, whether that's true or not, at the end of the day, we evolved, we changed, we got better, we got stronger. So you look at Lamar Jackson, I try to tell people, Lamar Jackson is not going to be like the most athletically gifted quarterback ever. There's going to be another one that comes that's going to be better than what he is, right? And a lot of Ravens fans disagree with that. I said, you have a lot of people who have the potential to be what Lamar Jackson is, right? But in high school, you pretty much put your best athlete at quarterback and you just, let him do his thing. That's what Lamar Jackson is. The difference is once those guys go to college, the coaches force them to change their position because they don't really view them as a real quarterback. You get what I'm saying? Cam Akers, for example, he was a quarterback in high school. They changed them to running back. Same thing with Kadarius Toney. They changed him to wide receiver. Well, with Lamar Jackson, he stayed through with quarterback. You get what I'm saying? He proved to Rick Pitino during the recruiting process that, hey, I can throw the football. That's when he got offered. So you see what Lamar Jackson does, how great of an athlete he is. You keep him at quarterback and you teach him how to play the quarterback position. That's something that a lot of these college coaches don't want to do anymore. They don't want to groom these players anymore. They just think you're a great athlete. Okay, you're not really polished at quarterback, so I don't want to work with you. I just want to put you somewhere else and get the ball in your hands. Then that's where Lamar Jackson kind of kicked down that narrative when he got to the NFL, right? So now he gets to the NFL. And Baltimore comes off a perfect offense for him. Now, it was kind of on the fly. You get what I'm saying? Because you had the Joe Flacco injury. You knew what was going on. John Harbaugh was really on the hot seat. He was going on like a couple of years, not making it to the playoffs, losing seasons. And they came up with a great offense on the fly, and it worked. until somebody saw it again. And I told people, Lamar Jackson isn't going to be, the narrative people want to use when somebody has a great season. Oh, they got film on them. They're going to be wild. Bro, people act like these defensive coordinators they're watching film 24/7. And I try to tell people this. Here's the problem with your thinking. You think defensive coordinators are going to adapt, but you guys never take into account that the quarterback gets better. Nobody ever thinks about that. You get what I'm saying? So I said, when Lamar Jackson comes out and he sets the world on fire, come back and hit me up, right? What happens? Lamar Jackson comes out and he wins NFL MVP. And like I was telling people now there's another quarterback out there that's more talented than Lamar Jackson. You know what his name is? Malik Willis for Liberty. You look at somebody.
I knew you were going to bring him up.
So look, Malik Willis, he may not be as fast as Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson rumorly runs a 4.28. So that's really fast. But Malik Willis is probably running the 4.3s, sub 4.4. And if Malik Willis was in the NFL right now, he'll have automatically one of the 5 strongest arms. This dude can throw from any platform. He's a monster in the open field. He's also quick. He has cat-like quickness. Everybody tries to say the same thing about Justin Fields and Lamar, how they run. I say Justin Fields runs more like Jalen Hurts. Lamar's running style is more finesse. Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields, the way they run more like running backs. You can run those quarterbacks in between the tackles and they're not afraid to put their shoulder down through you. You get what I'm saying? They're power runners at the quarterback position. So when you look at Malik Willis, he has that cat-like quickness. So like in my rant or in my long story, theory of evolution, we had Vic, we had Randall Cunningham, evolved to Michael Vick. Michael Vick, Lamar, potentially, we see Malik Willis. So these quarterbacks are going to continue to get better and better. You get what I'm saying?
I think the fact that Lamar Jackson landed with the Ravens, where they embraced his ability to run the football and also, kind of, brought him along the right way. I know he took over for Joe Flacco, but it wasn't until like midway through the season they didn't rush him into the fire. And I think that when quarterbacks land with great organizations and great coaching staffs that will adapt to their skill set, then they're going to thrive. And it's pretty crazy to me to think that people were really, really critical of Lamar Jackson to a point where they said he should change positions to a wide receiver. And I get it because he's super duper fast. Like if he wanted to change positions, like it could happen. But the guy won a Heisman Trophy in college. Why would he change positions?
Yeah, you see what Louisville is without Lamar, right?
Yeah.
And like I told people, I said, listen. Baltimore and John Harbaugh put his job on the line for Lamar Jackson. He put all his chips in the basket because if Lamar doesn't do good, John Harbaugh's gone. And that's why I tell people, I don't think John Harbaugh is a bad coach. I'm just saying that when you look at John Harbaugh, you got to take into account that Lamar Jackson is a huge reason why he's still the head coach. Because at the time, you don't never want to throw a young quarterback into the fire. But Lamar Jackson was in an easy situation where he easily could have collapsed. Because you got to look, Baltimore was fading down the playoff race. They weren't out, but they were in it. So you insert a young quarterback that's not on a bad team, but they're in the thick of a playoff race. You get what I'm saying? So, like, if he doesn't get you to the playoffs, not only do you lose your job, but you ruin his confidence as well. So, John Harbaugh did do a very good job assembling a staff because, remember, they had the same offensive coordinator who was Michael Vick's OC when he was playing for Atlanta back in his early days there. Then they got rid of him, brought in the same offensive coordinator for the 49ers when they had Kaepernick, Tyrod Taylor, when he was a Pro Bowler for Buffalo. So, like, John Harbaugh, I think he has to give a lot of props to Lamar Jackson for why he still has a job, but he does get a lot of respect from me in terms of being able to assemble the proper staff, the best utilize Lamar's strengths, and that's part of being a great coach, being able to build around what you have.
Of course. Now, question for you. Next 5 to 10 years, do you see Lamar Jackson winning a Super Bowl? Personally, I'm going to say that I think he will win a Super Bowl because you look at Baltimore, a really well-run organization that values defense, running the football, the offensive line. They actually went big on wide receiver, signing Sammy Watkins, drafting, Rashad Bateman with a first-round pick along with Taylor Wallace, who's a really good player that could have potentially been a first-round pick had he not had some injuries in college. I think that Baltimore, they're going to be in the playoffs pretty much almost every single year because Lamar is so dynamic and because John Harbaugh is a great coach. I think that eventually, they'll get some breaks to come their way come playoff time, and they went big on wide receiver. That was the biggest weakness for them. They weren't quite as dynamic as Buffalo, Kansas City, and things like that. So I think Lamar Jackson can win the Ravens a Super Bowl. It's hard to believe that anyone thinks that he can't. I mean, he's one of the most successful quarterbacks through his first 3 seasons in NFL history, So, I mean, what do you think?
I want to rephrase that question. Can Lamar win a Super Bowl with the Ravens? Can the Ravens win a Super Bowl with Lamar? Because you got to remember, Lamar is about to get that extension. So now with that extension, they're going to be cap strapped. So my question is, have the Ravens assembled a roster that's good enough and young enough within the next 3-4 years that's capable of winning a Super Bowl? Because once you give Lamar Jackson that extension, you're not going to have that much cap space to go out there and, try to get one of the best in the game at a certain position. You feel me? Same thing with Cleveland. Cleveland has so much depth and so much talent. Once they give Baker Mayfield that extension, they're going to be straight. And he's not going to be making as near as much as Lamar will. So I think they definitely can. It just comes down to, have they built the team good enough that once Lamar Jackson gets that contract extension, that they can win with the guys they have now? Because after this, once they give them that record-breaking extension, they're not going to be having that much cap space as they have had in the past. And we've seen a lot of teams win when they had their quarterbacks on, their rookie deals. You look at Seattle, they won before they ever gave Russell Wilson an extension. Look at the Rams, they were winning before they gave Jared Goff that extension. And I was watching a video from Brett Coleman, and he was basically saying, there's only been like 3 quarterbacks within the last 2 decades who have won Super Bowls after getting an extension and have actually made it to the playoffs after getting an extension. Drew Brees, Big Ben, Aaron Rodgers. But even then, there's not a lot of quarterbacks that win Super Bowls after getting big-time extensions.
That is very true. I think that also people are a little hesitant with Lamar because they want to know how long this thing can last because
injuries.
The thing is, like, most things in the NFL can work. Like Tim Tebow, he won games in the NFL. The problem is it just didn't last. Taysom Hill, he's winning games with the Saints, but is it going to last for the next, year or so? I don't think so.
But we knew the difference is we knew those guys weren't really built for the QB position. Like, you just looked at Tim Tebow, even when he beat Pittsburgh, they made the right move because, like, you can build an offense all you want.
I'm laughing because you're a Steelers fan.
Oh, yeah. Bro, I would never forget. So let me tell you how this happened, right? So I was like in 4th grade, this back in 2011, right? So I'm thinking the game already over, we about to win. And my grandpa calls me into the living room. I see Tim Tebow with that ugly throwing motion just, you know how he used to cock that thing back like he was finna shoot a shotgun. He throws that little ugly pass to the Marius Thomas. He makes one guy miss, and he's blowing past over behind Troy Polamalu and Ryan Clark. And that was pretty much it. But, like, I told people that you can build an offense around somebody, but some offenses aren't able to last long term because the quarterback has to be able to evolve. Tim Tebow was never going to be able to evolve. You get what I'm saying? And when you look at how RG3 ended up in Washington, he wanted to be a pocket passer after that injury. That's not how. Like, Kyle Shanahan and his dad built the offense strictly for Robert Griffin, the best utilize what he could do. It was a simplistic offense. All it was zone runs, read options, similar to what Baltimore does. A lot of read options, and then, having only 2-3 wide receivers on the field, and it was play action, easy, readable concepts. You get what I'm saying? And as we progressed throughout the seasons and Robert Griffin continued to develop throughout his career as a passer, more things would have been able to been done. Well, RG3 had that injury. He won Rookie of the Year. He came back with his chest poked out, and he wanted to, move on way too quickly. I forgot how the phrase goes. Like, he was in over his head. You ever had somebody who got a promotion that, they weren't ready for? That was RG3. He thought he was ready to be a pocket passer. He wasn't there yet.
Yeah. And then his injury kind of threw him off. But, I do think Lamar Jackson, when it's all said and done, if I were to bet no Super Bowl or Super Bowl win, I'm going to bet Super Bowl win. I really do believe in Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. We'll see how things go with them. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juice Alert Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juice Alert Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.